From the makers of Cat's Beer, it's the Grottu Orloff Show, Sunday morning edition, ladies and gentlemen. And I guess we'll be doing kind of a Halloween-oriented episode tonight, this morning, whatever. I should be going to church, but I haven't yet found a church. Just haven't found one yet. I need to look into that more. Let's see. Let's hang out and go through some comic books. Oh, I gotta let the kitten out. I got the kitten up here in the comic book archive, attic, whatever you want to call it. Let's get her out. Okay. Hold on.
Grottu Orloff, coming to you from WFUN Radio. Let's go!
All right. And there is Charlotte. Let's get off this tripod so we can get a better view of Charlotte the cat. Just recently adopted by us. We found this orphaned kitten in our front yard behind a bush, crying. What box are you looking at there, Charlotte? Let's look at whatever box. No, we can't look at that box. Let's see.
The oldies, Labor Day weekend.
Let's see. I need to file Classics Illustrated comics. Where's my Classics Illustrated box? Oh, I've got to hang this picture up. The Moon Monster. Okay, Archie Comics. Gold Key. Charlton. There's Classics Illustrated down there. Behind this autographed picture of Ken Osmond. TV's Eddie Haskell. Oh, and that's my grandfather, who's a Major League Baseball player. All right, so we're going to get Classics Illustrated out. Got to move this fake dog do. Let's put that over here. This Alfred Newman bookend. And actually, I could file some stuff in these boxes that look like this. I put Golden Age comics in them. I don't have much Golden Age because I've always been a poor man. That's Marvel Bronze Age horror. Maybe we should look at that box since it's almost Halloween. We're listening to the Grottu Orloff radio show on WFUN Radio. That DJ's pretty good. Right now he's playing a song about the Monster Society of Evil, the arch enemies of Captain Marvel. Right, Charlotte the cat? Okay. Well, Charlotte's getting some exercise. Let's start filing.
Let's go.
You can listen to the Grottu Orloff radio show on this very YouTube channel. Most people don't ever listen to it because they don't like, a lot of comic book collectors only collect comic books. They're not into great music. But most of the viewers of this channel are more intelligent than the average Pokemon Magic the Gathering kind of cretin. So, okay. So we got these Classics Illustrated comics here, like the Count of Monte Cristo. And I got that from Mike recently. I need to contact Mike. If you're watching this, you recently moved to Atlantis. But see, Atlantis, the time zone in Atlantis, when it's noon here, it's midnight there. So in order for me to reach Mike at a decent time, I need to call him like at midnight my time when I'm not awake. So I got to figure out a way to stay up late and contact Mike about some stuff I'd like to purchase from him. It's a long story, but contact me or Kevin over at Gotham City or wherever. You just contact me in the comments down below. Okay, I think I had some not new, but new to me Classics Illustrated comics that I need to file in this Classics Illustrated box. So let's do that. Because there are, I'd say about 50% of my audience does not care about anything but comic books. So we're going to have to cater to that crowd today. Here we go. Man, I probably own about 3 comics that have Venom on the cover or in them at all. And I guess I bought this from a dollar bin just because I like, the cover. Just terrible. I'm so glad I wasn't born at such a time that I would have liked. I don't think I would have. I think that I would have been consistent. If I was born at a later time, I don't think I would have been into Venom or Carnage. I don't think I would have been into Pokemon. I think I have integrity even across the millennia, across the decades. Okay, so we've got Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. Like a pretty much mint condition copy, as close as you're going to get with Classics Illustrated. This was in a 3rd grade teacher in the 1950s, had this in her classroom for the kids to read when they finished their work. And you can tell no kid ever really picked it up because they probably would have rather read Tales from the Crypt or Roy Rogers or something. So, oh, that little cat's on my foot right now. Anyway, looking at an attractive permanent binder, I think I'll wait and put this in an attractive permanent binder. It's September 1945 is the copyright date. I think this is actually a 1945. It's you can see a little bit of browning, as the morons called it there. Okay, it's stories by the world's greatest authors, I'll let you know. In this case, Mark Twain. And these comics were always more expensive. They were 15 cents instead of 10 cents because parents bought them, I don't think any kids saved up their allowance and bought these. I think they were bought for them by grandparents or parents who wanted to turn their kids on to fine literature. Here's Ivanhoe. Wait a second. I've just discovered that I own now 2 copies of The Count of Monte Cristo. Look at that. How did that happen? It's a thick comic, too. This one needs to be, you can't ever have too many copies of The Count of Monte Cristo. This one's from my childhood. This one, probably about 1970. This is one of the oldest comics in my collection. This was, look, it was a quarter in 1970. That was, 10 cents more than comics for normal kids that didn't read these. Anyway, the cover is very attractive, and of course, Mr. Hyde isn't quite as horrible looking. In fact, I kind of look like, if I shaved, I'd probably look like Mr. Hyde, except without the green skin. There was a parody of this in National Lampoon, and they did a parody of this cover, and it was about alcoholism, you know. Okay, so there's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's number 13. Here's Frankenstein. I forgot I owned the Frankenstein one. Man, this cat's got sharp claws. Lorna Doone. I think that's a Matt Baker cover. Matt Baker was a great artist. He's become an artist everyone talks about recently. The Pioneers. Man, there's no point in putting these in any numeric order. It's pointless, and you don't want to see any more of these. Probably I've lost a whole bunch of people have tuned out to go watch the riots from yesterday. Okay, where were the rest? Oh, I already pulled them. Here's Robin Hood. I'll put this into the box.
Just got a request for this next song on the Grottu telephone. Let's go.
Here's Swiss Family Robinson. Oh, look at this, man. Joan of Arc. Number 78. I showed my wife the 1939 Wuthering Heights about 2 years ago. She loved it, man. She just... Knights of the Round Table. The great thing about Suno.com, the website, is I can create a country western swing song about the Haunted Tank from DC Comics. Nobody else is going to do it, so I need to do it, right? Rob, maybe you can join the ranks of the Suno.com people and create your own songs, and I'd love to hear them. This radio show that I do, I create my own music. Caesar's Conquest. Let's get that in this box. And The Spy by James Fenimore Cooper. Yes, all of the fine literature is here in the archives of the Grottu Orloff attic. Here's a more recent, and by recent, probably 80s or early 90s. What would this be? What is the date on this? It's a first printing. Oh, come on. 1991, yes. Gahan Wilson is how I've always pronounced it since I was a kid. Perhaps it's Gahan Wilson, I don't know. But I guess someone bought the Classics Illustrated name from the defunct company, and they put these out to use them in classrooms. See, they even have a little section where they teach you the vocabulary words. But it's a great way to introduce kids to the wonderful art stylings of Mr. Wilson. You probably know him from National Lampoon, or perhaps you know him from a Hugh Hefner publication that I won't mention. Now they did some, sometimes the robots, when you give them words to sing, they don't know how to pronounce words, like they're singing sophisticate instead of sophisticated. Sometimes I have to misspell things to get them to pronounce them right. Classics Illustrated would do these great war comics, though. The War Between the States. These are the comics that probably kids would actually want to read. World War II. Well, story of World War II. Ow, the claws of the cat. Here's the illustrated history of the Air Force from Classics Illustrated, and
Hey, it's Grottu Orloff, man.
the illustrated history of the Army. So you can tell this was actually read by a real kid. They've gone to it with a pen and everything. This has actually been read. Look at how many times it's been opened down there. Well loved. Anyway, we got the 250th anniversary of everything, and 250th anniversary of the Marines, the Navy, the Army, because, you know, it's 2025, and it, you know, it's we're coming up to the
Let's remember all those
sesquicentennial is the 150th birthday. Bicentennial is the 200th birthday. What is the 250th birthday called? I don't know, but there's supposed to be some big World's Fair kind of event that Trump was talking about in Iowa, but I haven't heard about it recently. It's supposed to last for a year during 2026. He may have other things on his mind right now. But anyway, I remember the bicentennial like it was yesterday. And that was 50 years ago when I was in 5th grade. I remember the bicentennial train came and we went to see that. And it was just that was kind of lame, actually. Okay, that's not what I want. Okay, so I'm done with that. This box has Classics Illustrated and comic I dearly loved as a kid, Dennis the Menace. This is an earlier Dennis the Menace because you can just tell by the art style. And this was a gift on Christmas Eve in 1961 to Stevie. And I've got more than a few comics that have that handwriting of the mother that were given to him. And I guess he sold all of his comics, or someone sold all his comics to Duncanville Books in Duncanville, Texas, near where I used to live. And so I got a bunch of them. They were, you know, I don't think that devalues the comic. It would to a moron, but to me it gives it a wonderful history, and that it has been well loved, and some parent, you know, gave it as a gift. Some of them are birthday gifts, but she always puts the date, and sometimes she puts where they were living when the comic was given to the kid, you know, and it's just, I think that's really cool. You know, these parents that grew up during the Depression, that had kids in the 50s and 60s, well, something that cost a quarter was a valuable gift, and you might as well write down, yeah, I just think that's a neat thing. That's a neat mother that did that. Okay.
Yeah, it's Grottu Orloff here on WFUN 79 AM, Rural Retreat, Virginia. Having a great day playing rock and roll.
Let's go through these Golden Age comics and see what I need to file. This is the second box I've got of them. Let's see what I've got. I can file this. This is a facsimile comic, and I think I've got some Golden Age books maybe in this box. Okay. Yes, I do. No, I don't. This is the third box. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, I see what I got to do. You know, some people say collecting comics is for a bunch of sissy, pussy people, you know. I beg to differ. It's real men collect comic books, too. Sometimes you got to organize your comics, man. You got to do that. Okay. Okay, here is an issue of Prez that needs to be filed with the Bronze Age. Prez. Prez is a comic book ripoff of a movie called Wild in the Streets from, I think, about 1967, where all the grown-ups are forced to be put into concentration camps where they're force-fed LSD, and kids can vote, and they have a teenage president. I think his name is Max Frost. There's a great theme song to it's one of those American International Roger Corman movies. It's I don't know that Corman directed it, but he produced it. And there's a great theme song called "Nothing Can Shape the Things of Nothing can shape the shape. Nothing can change the shape of things to come." And it's credited to Max Frost and the Troopers. So it's a bunch of great studio musicians that are better than most non-anonymous musicians. Anyway, you've probably heard that song. It has Richard Pryor in it, I think. I think he plays one of the president's advisors. But anyway, Prez was a knockoff of that. Wait, this has got some Major League Water damage to it. And then, of course, Commandee was unauthorized Planet of the Apes, but I think everybody can figure that out. Somewhere between Korak and Planet of the Apes. Although Jack Kirby said he never saw Planet of the Apes, everyone knew the plot line of it, basically. This one was a gift from Night Tiger. What are you doing, little critter? Are you doing him? He's getting some exercise. I need to poop and pee this cat but I won't do it on camera because I've been told, Kevin told me I had to stop watching when you're about to poop and pee Charlotte the cat, and I said, well, maybe I shouldn't do that on camera. Okay. So Master Comics. This box starts with Madhouse. This comic I've had since the late 70s when I got it at Lone Star Comics during one of my first visits. And they didn't have a lot of Golden Age. They had tons of Silver Age in their original location. You now know it as mycomicshop.com. But I knew this to be an obvious, one of the early 50s imitations of Mad. Here's Man Comics. This comic looks amazing, and it is amazing, but it has virtually no value. Some people look at it and they put it on eBay. I'm selling this for $500. This is probably maybe worth $5, even though it is old and cool, and it just looks amazing because it was printed by the millions. It was a promotional comic for some drink called In a Pack. In a Pack. I'm just now getting it. Kind of like TurboTax is made by Intuit. And, that's intuition, but it's also like, I'm really into it. I'm really into doing my taxes, man. I'm into it. Here's a fake Marvel family that was done by DC, authorized, because it's the first appearance of Black Adam, and they thought that Black Adam movie was going to be a big hit. This is a real Marvel family comic. I got that from Kevin at Gotham City Comics. And here's another real Marvel family comic. And here's a copy of Master Comics, which I also got from Kevin. Of course, everyone knows Captain Marvel is the boyhood hero of Elvis Presley, and he styled his look after him. Along with, he got the sideburns from truck drivers that he admired, but in real life. But the basic overall look, you can see, is Elvis Presley there. Another copy of Master Comics. Oh, so I need to put this fake facsimile that is not from DC, and it has the this is from PS Art Books. This is Master Comics, number 36. The first real one I've got is 82. Yeah, something like this would be very expensive. World War II with the Statue of Liberty. Man, they even draw him. The Statue of Liberty during World War II was green. I'm pretty sure that it was this color when it first came over from France. It was copper, but being in the ocean, near the ocean, it turned green very quickly. Like pennies do when they're out laying them outside. But there isn't a lot of color footage. There's some color film from the 40s. I'm pretty sure it was already green by World War II. I'm pretty sure it turned green within probably, when was the Statue of Liberty put there? About 1898? I don't know. I don't have a Wikipedia brain, but I imagine by the turn of the century it was already green, the green we know. Okay, all right. How about that? That's a real issue of Police Comics. I got that from Mike. Mike, contact us, man. Because if you want to, I picked out some stuff I wanted, and Meyer picked out some stuff, and anyway, if you want to price it, or if you want Kevin to just price it and not have the hassle of it, he could do that and get you, wire you the money, or wire. People don't wire money anymore. They PayPal it, right? I don't even know what wire was, like telegraphs, maybe. Oh man! Oh, look at this. Pre-code horror. I don't have much of it, but there is a new book that just came out last week, reprinting early Marvel, also known as Atlas, pre-code horror, and this was a gift from Night Tiger. You know what? I never took it out of the bag because he warned me that every single page, none of the pages are attached, including the covers. So I got a little scared about taking it out of the bag. But I wish I need to, because look at that, man. This was also a gift from him. He's a very generous, wonderful member of the comic book community. I guess I'll say comic book community. Everyone uses that term. I hate the word community because of its communist origins. Why do we, like that stupid, why don't we just call it the comic book gang? No, that was a really lame, that was one of the worst parts of the Superman movie. The Superman movie that I loved, but now I look back wistfully, I wish it could be June again, when I really fell in love with that Superman movie, because now I couldn't watch that without it being poisoned by the horrible fact that I watched Peacemaker. And now, at least 5 of the characters that were in the Superman movie, I've seen them talk about some of the most degrading, disgusting, X-rated things, and then I've been forced to see just. I mean, the premise of the whole season was interesting about the alternate universe, but I don't know what James Gunn's thinking, man. I'm hoping. I just don't know. It's not good, man. It's not someone I'd want. And I've always had good feelings about him. From Guardians of the Galaxy back to his movie Super to just about everything he's ever done, man. It's just, and I wanted to forgive him for the horrible things he used to put on Twitter. And now it's just like, I don't know, man. I guess maybe everybody was right about him. This box is labeled Marvel Bronze Age Horror. I started pulling the horror stuff out. You start doing that, and then you wind up regretting it, that you've separated things, because then you don't remember what things are. But I was captured by Gorilla. I got this is what I was mainly into before I got into superheroes. I was into the horror stuff. What That little cat's making pathetic noise. Let's bottle feed him, her. It's a her now, because we found the kitten when the vet could not tell if it was a boy or girl, and then we since determined by the stream when it pees that, because we have to make it pee, because little baby kittens that are licked by their mother. I've told you all this before, but I'm assuming people don't watch every episode, so I repeat things. Why do I own this? I don't know. I guess I pulled it out of a 50-cent bin. I need more copies of Chili, but it's going up in value. I actually have 2 copies of this issue. It's an Archie imitation from Marvel. Every company did imitations of Archie, and sometimes they got the artist from Archie to come over and secretly moonlight. This one I can. Did I just put up that? Damn it. Anyway, did you guys watch all the coverage of the No Kings rally? I was watching that. There was one guy that was there, just standing there taunting them. That was pretty funny. I forget his name. I think it was Tommy something. Man, I just pulled the comic out. Where did it go? I hate this, man. Maybe I didn't pull it out. There it is. This is a comic I need to file into this box, but I won a prize from Night Tiger Comics, a big stack of comics, and 90% of them I didn't have, but this one I already had. I think I have it filed under Fear, so I'm gonna put it in with the others. The comic is called Fear, so I have it filed under F. It later became Adventure into Fear. Here's Fear number 7. Wait. I have some other issues of Fear that are in with my Soul Rage. I guess I need to pull those and put them into this box.
Hey, you're tuned into 79.9 AM where the action is. WFUN.
Fear number 8 with a, that's a John Severin cover. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between John Severin and his sister Marie Severin. Here's issue 10, which is it's not the first Man Thing, but it's the first Man Thing in a color comic. He started in Savage Tales #1, a black and white comic book. I consider that a comic book. Some people don't. Okay, here's 12. I guess I don't have 11. Here's another copy of 12. It would be better to have one copy of 11 and one copy of 12 instead of two copies of 12, but c'est la vie. Whatever will be, will be. Here's 2 copies of 13. There really is a lot of demonic stuff in comic books when you really think about it. But 14, here's more like devil-worshipping people. Damn, man. There's another copy of 14. One of the great... There's no artists like this anymore. This Frank Bruner cover. Look at that, man. I finally realized it's only taken me 60 years to figure out what demons are. There were the fallen angels, right? The fallen angels, which Stan Lee knew all this stuff, you know, I guess he paid attention in synagogue. But okay, so the fallen angels were the watchers. They were supposed to be these creatures created by God that were supposed to watch. They weren't supposed to like fall in love with the human women they were watching down on earth and go and have children with them. And so some of them did. Well, wait a second. Well, they were watchers. But how's that different from the fallen angels? They were the ones that rebelled against God. Maybe it wasn't them. Maybe it was the ones that were... Anyway, these beings that God created that were not supposed to breed with humans, bred with humans, and their offspring grew into gigantic beings and monstrosities with weird pale skin and stuff that they say is why it's almost like we have this genetic... A lot of people have a genetic fear of clowns, and they say, if you watch enough of these YouTube channels, they say that the Nephilim look like clowns. What are the Nephilim? The Nephilim are the children of these half angel, half human, and they grew into these monsters. Kind of like the monsters that the superheroes always have to fight. And but I don't know if all of them were monsters or if they just had, like, some of them had superpowers, like the superheroes in these comics, because it's all genetic memories. Man, some of them were, I don't know, but anyway, that apparently that was one of the main reasons that God had to flood the earth, is to get rid of all of these, this genetic DNA that was evil. But anyway, so when there's the part of the Bible that said there were great men of renown. These beings that were part angel were worshipped by some cultures as gods. And that's why you got the stories of Thor and Hercules and Zeus and all that. Anyway, so those were wiped out, but some of that bloodline did survive through one of... Noah had his children on the ark too, and I think one of them had a wife that still had some of that blood, and that blood is still in the elite bloodlines of the kings and queens and the really scary people that run things that don't care about us. That just, but they say when these things die, when they died, they weren't meant to be, and their souls just roam the earth, and they can't go to heaven or whatever. They're just and they're what demons are, and they want bodies again like they had, and that's why they will possess bodies. Like the legion of demons that were infesting, in the Bible, that were driven into pigs. Anyway, that's my little Bible lesson for you, but I've got it all wrong. I don't know. I got to get that more solidified down. Here's just such great covers on these, man. I've got 2 copies. Man, I love this comic. As a kid, this 20-cent era was. Let's see, this is all. You start realizing that all these comic book stories really have a basis in truth. These super beings fighting monsters and stuff. Okay, so we're still with Man-Thing. He got his own comic there real soon after this, which was amazing because I got sick. And normally I wouldn't be telling you how excited I was that I got sick in 3rd grade, but my mother, whenever I got sick, would go out and buy about 3 comic books randomly for me when I was homesick from school, and she bought Man-Thing #1. And then later she bought that Hulk 180 with the, I bought this as a kid. She bought Hulk 180 with the first appearance of Wolverine. So here's my childhood 21, and then this is the one that I'm adding in that I got from Night Tiger. And then here's 22. I think I got all of these. Morbius was a character I loved, and I went to see that horrible movie at the local theater. Man, I just can't believe how. I need to stop talking about how much I hate everything that comes out today. I do, man. I hate everything. Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, every movie that comes out. There's some good stuff. What can I tell you, man? I like the way things used to be in the good old days. I gotta move the dog poop. Let's put the dog poop here. This is labeled digest-sized magazines.
Hey, thanks for spending your Sunday afternoon with Grottu Orloff.
You used to always get this whenever you made an order from Alex Jones's company. You order a DVD or something, you get the Citizens Rule Book. It's the Constitution all in tiny print. What do I got in here, man?
And the years of the rise of the sons of Ariel.
Here's a British Fantastic Four little mini comic. Look at that, man. High-tech technology, man. Every kid will love you at your little private school in England. You got one of those. Here's a fanzine about the Cramps. This is number 334. This is put out by Lindsay Hutton in Scotland. He ran the Cramps fan club back there. And then he loved the Cramps. Then at some point the Cramps contacted him and said, "We want to dissolve the fan club. Thanks for everything, but we want to." And he kind of had his feelings hurt, by the way they just dismissed it. Okay, here is first printing of the Betty Pages. Dave Stevens took a real model that he had a crush on from the old men's magazines and used her as the model for the girlfriend of the Rocketeer when they did the Rocketeer comic book. And then when people realized, oh, that's a real person, people became fascinated with it. So they put out, this is a little fanzine put out by Greg Theakston and from Pure Imagination Publishing. This was the original printing. And it's probably pretty valuable now because a lot of people have discovered Dave Stevens recently. Then this was the slick, one that actually is more known. Anyway, so I have all these Betty Pages, and there would be like one store in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex that would carry this back then when this was coming out, and I would drive 30 miles to get the latest issue of Betty Pages. This one came out, was this 1988? Yeah. And this was, and she was still alive then, and no one could find her. A lot of the content of this magazine is them trying to find her, the missing pinup queen. And finally, Greg Theakston that put this out, and Dave Stevens, who was, big into this magazine and worked for it, they found her, and they got her to start signing autographs, and she went and was there with big parties, and she got to see how she was, before she passed away, that she was appreciated still. And so it's a neat thing. And then Bunny Yeager, that took a lot of her pictures, she was a pinup model herself, but also a photographer in Florida. She took all these jungle pictures and all the pictures of her on the beach. She got a lot of new sales from selling her. She had all the original negatives, her photography. Okay, there's an article in here on Irish McCullough that played Sheena on TV. There's the Sheena. Yeah, I have the whole collection of the Betty Pages in here. I guess I should have them bagged and boarded, but I have them in a short box with all these smaller sized. That was the artist Olivia that was all ubiquitous back then. Boy, I hope I didn't show the back cover of that one. This one is and I think this was the final issue. And then they also had this Movie Star News. This is something that probably isn't in a lot of the Dave Stevens catalogs where they have a listing of all his art. Movie Star News was, she had all those pictures taken by Irving Klaw in New York. There was Bunny Yeager that did all the Betty Page pictures where she's a jungle girl or she's on the beach frolicking. And then there was the Claws, Irving Klaw and his wife Paula Klaw took all the pictures of her, those pictures. And then when Betty Page became famous again, Irving Klaw was no longer alive, but his wife still ran Movie Star News, and they were selling a lot of those pictures, and so that's a catalog that they were putting out. So anyway. This guy still puts this out. He's on Facebook. He puts out reprints of pre-code horror stories. It's a fanzine like people used to do in the 80s and 90s. And but he's it's called Weird Shit, and he uses the Eerie Publications covers and. I got some of them. I should get more. He's done a ton of them, but I don't know.
The Grottu Orloff Show. It's the Sunday night Psycho Sock.
Let me see if I can't.
Thanks a lot for tuning in.
666 cents. See if I can't find his name. Come on, what's your name? He has old ads and stuff. It's cool. I guess I've got the first 3, but he's done a ton of them since then. And it's nice reproduction. It's still digest size. Then I got magazines like this in there. This is the kind of stuff I love, man. Just as much as I love comic books, I love a lot of things. And man does not live by comic books alone. Let's put this up there. I gotta feed the cat. Let's do that. We're sleeping in the day while Frankenstein is on his way. There's a safe way out. Way out. Frankenstein's bloody terror. The monsters will rip out your guts. Run for your life. You ready for some chow? Frankenstein's bloody terror. Soon she's gonna be able to transition to solid food, but they say you got to watch out because they're used to sucking, and then they get a solid food, they'll try to suck on it, and so you got to. So some cats immediately figure out how to chew, and some just try to suck it. That's right. Okay. This cat must be, I wrap him, her, I think it's now confirmed it's a her, up in a towel to do this. My wife likes to, well, sometimes she'll listen to me, but she likes to not do that. And then it's like the thing's flailing and slashing her. So it looks like she's ready for a haircut. You know, everything's cool. Featuring the sounds of the Grateful Dead in the loading zone. The answer, the seance. I never liked the Grateful Dead. What do you guys think, man? It's like Grateful Dead. I don't know. I appreciate that Jerry Garcia was into EC Comics, but other than that, I never liked the son. And Frank Zappa, I like listening to him talk, interviews with him. But his music. There was one Frank Zappa record where there was one I liked, but I just never was into that, man. I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I insane? Oh, that just goes without saying. All right. Milk. There's a little bit left in this bottle.
I'll be there.
This is a villain. A typical villain.
Ah.
I'm going to destroy the world by pressing this little purple button.
This is also a villain. A very special villain. The kind that turns up only in the silences.
Now, do I look like an enemy agent?
This is a special agent. A typical agent.
You press that purple button and I'll blow your pink head off.
This is also a special agent. He's hot, he's hip, he's Matt Helm, and he's only in the silences. Couldn't help noticing.
I love those Matt Helm movies, but the original books were serious. Just what was it, Don Hamilton or Don Pendleton? Don Hamilton, I can't forget the name of the guy that wrote the real books. But they made the movies all campy, but I enjoyed that.
Now, playing in a theater or drive-in.
Oh man, you're biting into the bottle. What are you up to?
You're chewing? 10. Where'd you get it? I got it at the candy store. I'm going out tonight, I want to be sure. When I'm holding my baby tight, everything is gonna be alright.
I'm raising this cat to appreciate good music.
It helps keep my breath fresh and my teeth clean. How? I don't know, but it does, and it tastes good too. So if you're going out tonight,
yeah, I've made songs about the Man-Thing, about the Doom Patrol, about just about any comic that I love. I've made multiple songs about them that you can hear if you tune in this radio show. Just look for, on my channel, look for what it says, the Grottu Orloff radio show instead of TV show, and then you'll know you'll be hearing some fantastic music.
If you can't take it, you can still see it. Because the new motion picture, Chamber of Horrors, has realistically incorporated a built-in audio-visual warning system to shield you from the shattering impact of its terror. When the fear flasher begins its signal and the horror horn sounds its alarm, shut your eyes and hold your ears.
Yeah, you're supposed to extend your pinky like this. I must look really stupid. I didn't realize I was doing that. Forgive me.
Grottu Orloff, Psycho Saka, from 1952.
There's a legend from the Congo, you know it tells of the queen. Her beauty was so timeless, like something from a dream. Every man would come a-running, she would smile at them. And then she'd take them back to her place and never see them again. And that's me. I am a cannibal from the Congo. I am a cannibal from the Congo. I am a cannibal from the Congo. I am a cannibal from the Congo.
Well, I got a vacuum cleaner up here because I realized watching the video I shot yesterday how disreputable of the carpet looked. My mother would use that term, disreputable. It will destroy my reputation for you guys to think that I don't vacuum this carpet often. Right, Charlotte the cat? Charlotte is a cannibal from the Congo. Yeah, we get these cans of kitten replacement milk and put them in these little plastic bottles with a nipple. And there's hardly anything left. In fact, just really a little bit. Is anything even coming out, man? I think we're just about out. I'm gonna have to go fill this. But first I may need to poop and pee you. I think we're dry, man. All right. You don't want to watch me rub her, I don't think so, to make her pee and poop. I'll just point it at this and you can listen to music. You can listen to the music, I'll be right back.
Psycho Sock Hop, WFUN.
I want to fuck John F. Kennedy. I want to fuck John F. Kennedy. I want to fuck John F. Kennedy. Oh my God. I want to fuck John F. Kennedy. I hopped off the plane at LAX with a drink and my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame, excess. Whoa, am I gonna fit in? So I put my hands up, they're playing my song, and the butterflies fly away. Nodding my head like yeah, moving my hips like yeah. I want to fuck John F. Kennedy. I want to fuck John F. Kennedy.
Well, that was quite an experience. Got quite a bit of poop out. Boy, this cat moves quick now. Okay, what am I doing now? What do I need to file now? Oh, I see.
So I put my hands up, they're playing my song, and the butterflies
Oh, boy.
nodding my head like yeah, moving my hips like yeah. I want.
From 1962.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to continue on with our exploration through the history of the comic book medium.
Sometimes I'll buy a copy of Mad Magazine. My cousin is on the cover this month.
Okay, here's a facsimile of Captain Marvel number 18. Here's a facsimile of issue 26. So put that in there. Dynamic Comics number 18. Also from the same company. I have this stamp on the back, the seal. Facsimile editions. Then this is on the bag. These are all, there's no markings inside that show that it's a facsimile, but you can tell because the covers are a little more cardboardy than the original comic would have been. She got a lot of poop out just now, just so you know. But I cleaned the sink. I held her over a sink and kind of. So anyway, that was the fun that you missed. I didn't want to show it to you.
The greatest radio station on the planet Earth.
What is this?
79
Oh.
AM.
Here's Dodo. There's a little digest comic. Dodo, and then there's Fairy Tale Parade. So I'll put Dynamic Comics in front of that. See, I just mix in my facsimiles right with the real comics. I think I watched Captain Strangelife. He put up a show about 48 hours ago, and he's going through the same dilemma. Do I file these separately as facsimiles, or do I put them in with? Ow, man, the cat's clawing me. Like, I don't have any real copies of Fantastic Fears, but let's say I did, I would file this right in with, just like I do those Fantastic Four facsimiles they've been putting out of the first 12 issues, and then the Galactus trilogy. I just put them in right with my original Fantastic Four run because it doesn't bother me. Oh, here's another Fantastic Fears facsimile I got a while back, and there might be another one I'm going to get soon, real soon. So that's what this issue number. Sometimes they didn't do the right thing. Oh, it's at least they put it on the back. Fantastic Fears #4. Not all comic book companies would put the issue number on the cover. Sometimes they just put the month because they didn't expect anyone to ever collect these things. That they would have laughed if they told you that someone 70, 80 years from now is going to be collecting these and preserving them like they're works of art. They looked at this as a bunch of shit, and they were embarrassed to tell anyone that they worked for comics. You know, it's like, Ramona Fraden, her husband was either a writer or illustrator for some prestigious, like the New Yorker kind, and they would go to parties, you know, with high society, and she didn't want to admit that she drew comic book pictures of a fish man for a comic book company. And Stan Lee, same thing. He didn't want to admit it, you know, just because, you know. Stan Lee had a wife that I think was very upwardly mobile, wanting to be high class and ritzy, you know, with a British accent. You know, he landed a British, I don't know if she was a war bride or what, but anyway. I don't have negative opinions about Stan Lee because I know he wasn't a liar. I know he really did believe that he created Spider-Man, and I don't fault him for that, because if you go to suno.com and you pick out the instruments and you pick out what you want the singer to sound like, and you say, okay, I want a Hammond organ, or I want you know, and you put the year in. I want this song to sound like this year. I want a Hammond organ. I want this. I want the singer to have a deep voice, or I want it to be a cute young female voice. And so you've got this vision of what the song, and then you come up with about a description of the song, what's going to be in the song, and what kind of stuff they're going to sing about. Or you can write all the lyrics line by line, every single line, and then you could press a button, and then about 3 to 4 seconds later, 2 songs get spit out, 2 different versions of what you put into it, and they sound like a song from that time period. Like, this is a Northern Soul song from like 1967. That, you know, there's a famous Northern song, nothing but a heartache. You know, Alex Jones used to use it as bumper music. Well, I came up with Nothing But a Bloodbath every night, about Frankenstein ripping people's arms off on the dance floor. And I put that in, and I tell it. And so to me, I created that song, but I'm not playing all those instruments. I didn't come up with the tune. I came up with the lyrics, the idea. This song would not exist in the world if I didn't have the idea of a Northern Soul song about Frankenstein ripping dancing people apart. No one's ever thought of that. Maybe they have, but they never put out a song. No one's ever done a country western swing song about Jeb Stewart and the Haunted Tank. So I look at it, and then the more I listen to it, I say, oh, that's my song. I created that. But no, robots did a lot of the work. But the original germ of the idea never would have happened if not for me. So Stan Lee looks at it. I came up with the idea of Spider-Man. I came up with the idea that he'd have problems. But you know, would it have ever worked if Steve Ditko didn't create that costume based on a Halloween costume he saw for sale at the TG&Y? And so the more, when you've got a talented artist, you know, a mind like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, you can more and more just say, okay, I want this issue to have this villain, I want this to happen in it, and you leave it more to them, and they come up with something amazing you might not have thought of, and you still think. And then he comes in and he writes all the dialogue in after, and it's real easy to think back, especially 10, 15, 20, you know, 10, 15 years later when he's writing Origins of Marvel Comics, and just think, that was my idea. He didn't create Silver Surfer, but he came up with the idea of Galactus. And then Jack Kirby thought, well, Okay, you want God to come in, and so why not have God have a herald, and then this angel, Silver Surfer being like an angel to God, he rebels against God and becomes a fallen angel, and he's relegated. He can't leave Earth, and it's just like right out of the Bible. And Jack Kirby's idea was to have God, but it's like who created what, and none of that would have existed. The whole Marvel Age of Comics without Stan Lee. Jack Kirby, brilliant mind, brilliant artist, might have created characters that look like the Fantastic Four and Galactus. They might have been in a set, but without the writing, without the voice of Stan Lee, because it just wouldn't have worked. So all these people that just want to give all the credit only to the artist, and it wouldn't have ever happened without Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. But Stan Lee was smart enough to have those people working for him. And anyway, so the more you know about the history of music and different music styles, the more successful you're going to be able to create songs. Like this is some happy early 50s song about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. To me, that's my creation. But really, there's a trick, like Stan Lee did. If I just put a minimal amount of information, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a few other things, then the robots come up with a lot of the lyrics, and they're intelligent, and there is a sense of humor there. It's probably demonic. These demons that are going around the earth, that can't go anywhere, probably are coming back at us through these computers. I'm pretty convinced that there's demonic energy coming at us through AI, especially when you look at some of these AI pictures that pop up. I don't know. Here's Charlotte, by the way. No demons involved in Charlotte. Okay, I gotta file this Red Band Comics that'll go in the other box. Anyway, so to me, I understand when you have a creative process that involves several people. Sometimes, and that's the same thing with a band. You have 4, 5 people. 3 people working together, you come up with something greater than any of you would have come up with on your own. Sometimes that's not true. Sometimes it's better to do it on your own, but there is a truth to that. So, I don't know, play around with Suno.com, but don't use the free version. You gotta pay a little. It's not that expensive, but the free version doesn't create. The songs are kind of lame. They'll seem cool to you at the time, but then you'll realize later, that's horrible. Okay. Now what do I need to do? Let's look at this kitten for a while. So he goes right for the screen. He sees himself in the screen, and he'll touch the screen and stop the show. I gotta be careful. So I'm recording on an iPhone. My gosh, that's not a good camera angle. I understand what Donald Trump was talking about. He was complaining about that Time magazine cover shot from down below. It's never a good camera angle, especially as you get older.
PM, and it's almost midnight here in Rural Retreat, Virginia. WFUN, 79 AM.
There was a horrible Werewolf by Night show, and people tell you they like it. If it was a TV series, this would, if I had done a Werewolf by Night series, this would be the closing theme every week. It would be perfect. My wife says she looks like a wolf man, this little cat. Oh, we got to file some Charlton comics. That's what I got to do. I wonder what time it is, man. I have this problem where I don't know.
From that great 1973 Werewolf by Night TV show based on that great Marvel comic book.
Yeah, there was nothing in that. Well, first of all, they filmed, when I think of the Werewolf by Night comic book that I read as a kid, it was in beautiful color. Mike Ploog's art, beautiful color. And so they decide, we'll film it in black and white to make it look like a universal horror. And there was, why would you do that? That's not how Werewolf by Night looked. And then they put Man-Thing into it, and I kind of liked the Man-Thing in that TV show. It was not the way he was depicted in the comic, but depicting him the way he was in the comic, he didn't have any personality. They made him more like a Chewbacca type of character. But I didn't like the monster hunters. They seemed all a little bit too much like the people. All those... You notice that if you watch the riot footage from the No Kings, you know what the people look like? That's what all the people out there competing to hunt down the werewolf or whatever the monster was like at the in that show. I just just despise everything. Meyer says I shouldn't use the word hate. That his mother punished. She said, "Don't ever use the word hate. Say I have distaste for that." Well, I have distaste for everything Marvel Studios does now. I have distaste for the new Star Wars movies. I have distaste for everything, man. Even the monster cereals are not, man. Ouch. Hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry, I had my fly down. I didn't realize it. Okay. Where are my Marvel humor comics? There's Charlton Comics Box 1. I need a later box because Marvel Horror and Humor. That's perfect. This is a song about Captain Marvel. I forgot I did this song. I hate that they call Captain Marvel Shazam. That's another thing that I hate. I should make a list of things I hate and do a special episode. Well, Archivist Adrift put a message on yesterday's video. He said, well, I know you hate everything in comic books today, but surely you must have enjoyed the Fantastic Four movie that just came out, because I've often heard you say you didn't like Galactus being just a cloud. You wanted to see him as an entity, a humanoid entity, and that's the way he was depicted in the Fantastic Four movie that just came out. And then I was trying to, how do I answer this question? I started watching the Fantastic Four movie, and the first 7 minutes, I was thinking, man, maybe I'm gonna like this movie for a change, and then I don't know, it was just like everything was the way I'd always dreamed it. I always dreamed that they would set a Fantastic Four movie in the 60s. I thought that would be the perfect time. I thought they're doing everything right, but why is it coming out kind of wrong? Not as wrong as whenever those movies came out in the early 2000s, but the casting was bad. I mean, they were going to cast like a Rastafarian as the Thing. That would have been worse. But Reed Richards was wrong. Sue Richards was wrong. My Susan Richards, looked Kennedy era. And when I think it was Dark Horse made little figurines of the Fantastic Four, they had her look 60s with the hair, the flip. That's how Sue Storm should look. She should look beautiful. The lady that played her in that movie was kind of harsh, kind of like James Gunn's wife. I mean, she's not ugly, but she's got kind of a harsh look, and that's not the way she was drawn by Kirby. The Thing was just kind of mild-mannered. He wasn't the Thing that facially, yeah, it looked like a Kirby drawing pretty much. Didn't like him growing a beard. I think they did that in the comic in some point in the night. I don't know. Kirby never did that, or probably even thought of that. I guess I had a different idea of the Fantastic Four, how it would start, how the characters would be introduced. Now, having the birth of Franklin Richards, that's fine. But I never really thought that I would want to see Susan Richards sitting on a toilet with her pregnancy test, realizing she's pregnant, and then coming out and telling her husband that she's pregnant. Although that is something that happens in real life, I guess I would have thought that maybe you would have a little more dignity in how you introduce a character. I mean, the first shot of the Fantastic Four is Susan Richards sitting on a toilet, looking at her little pee strip. That's how you want to me, The Impossibles is still the best Fantastic Four adaptation. When they bring Galactus in, by that point I was sleepy. Now, true, I get really tired from work, and I work 12-hour days pretty much in my retirement, because it's hard to get by. But I was falling asleep during the part that should have had me most excited. When Galactus showed up, they go to outer space to fight Galactus. I don't really even remember that part. Really too much. I need to rewatch it, I guess. And it seemed like Galactus wasn't very eloquent. He didn't talk much. I mean, yeah, he was. I don't know. I guess. I don't know, the girl Silver Surfer, I don't know. I wouldn't put it, I thought, was it terrible? No, it was not the worst Fantastic Four movie. They meant well, someone meant well, but there's just too many cooks, too many idiots in the kitchen for that to work out right, right?
And then at 2 o'clock and then at 4 o'clock, I'll be at the Wool Co.
Charlotte the cat will never see that Fantastic Four movie, and unfortunately, I would have been out buying that Superman Blu-ray that just came out. I would have driven 40 miles to buy that Blu-ray, but now I just don't eat. And I told people, yeah, I think that's a 10 out of a 10, man, right after I saw that Superman movie. But no, man, now I realize it was just grooming to get kids to watch that and then go right into Peacemaker to see stuff that looked like it came out of Caligula. Like stuff Bob Guccione would have edited out, because no, man, we just can't go that far with our Caligula. How did Bob Guccione used to talk? We cannot go that far with our Penthouse. Is that's just not appropriate for Penthouse magazine. That vile stuff that James Gunn's putting in Peacemaker. Okay, so we got the. Here's Monster Menace. You can get this in the dollar bin at Reprints Old Monster Stories. I think Mort Todd had something to do with this one, putting it together. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Oh yeah, that's supposed to be Mort Todd there. It says Little Morty there. Yeah, Mort Todd was behind this. Mort Todd was a cool guy. I used to talk with him online. I tried to get him to come on this show, and it didn't work out. He said, I'm real busy this month, and then next month I'm real busy. It was kind of like, you keep calling up some girl in high school you have a crush on. Well, I'm washing my hair tonight. How about tomorrow night? Well, I'm going to be washing my hair again tomorrow night. It's like he didn't want to come on the show. And unfortunately, he passed away about a month ago or something. He was a cool guy. He did a lot of great things for comics. So, this is another box of Marvel horror and humor. So where's the humor? It must be in the back. Worlds in the... No, there's no humor in this. This is all horror. Oh, shit. There's a reason I'm saying that foul curse word. Let me look here. Okay, it's this one. This is important. This is my childhood copy of Worlds Unknown with a thing called Killdozer. As seen on TV, there was a TV movie. It didn't quite look like that, but the Killdozer was a bulldozer that came to life. There was a band in the 90s called Killdozer based on this movie. Because every kid that grew up in the 70s remembers Killdozer, along with Trilogy of Terror, with the little Zuni doll that chased after Karen Black. And every kid remembers, even if they didn't see it, they remember every kid talking about it the next day at school. I think it was called The Legend of Lizzie Borden around 1973, because it was about Lizzie Borden who chopped her parents up, with 40 whacks, of the axe. Because Lizzie Borden, they show her, I guess, it was a TV movie. You didn't see anything, but you see her taking a bath or a shower. I don't know. I never saw the movie. I just remember what people said was in it the next day in the cafeteria. You see her washing the blood off her body. And it's like, and the reason that was so amazing is because she was played by Elizabeth Montgomery, who was, we all watched the reruns of Bewitched. And then to see Bewitched, Samantha, yeah, oh my gosh. And to see Samantha, that was, trust me, third graders were very happy about that. So, yeah. Killdozer. Anyway, I know this is my childhood copy because it's in My Light. Because in the late 80s or mid 80s, whenever they invented this material, I bought a whole bunch and put my prize comics in it. And that's why there's no backing board. No one used backing boards back then. So I usually try to put my childhood copy in front. And this is one I got later on. Another reason I know this isn't my childhood copy is when I was a kid, I always made sure I picked a copy out of the spinner rack that was in good shape, but I wanted the spine to be exactly centered. As a kid, that mattered to me. And see, this one is printed a little bit. It's not a spine roll, but it's just the way it's printed. The staples are in the right place, but I wouldn't have gotten a comic with the white showing on the cover unless it was the last copy, because that was just how I was. My early signs of my OCD. Plus, you're going to lose a little bit of the art on this side if you're getting the white over here. But anyway, it's based on a Theodore Sturgeon story. So, how about that? How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, Worlds Unknown was their science fiction title. And they were, the issue before that was issue 5, where they have an adaptation of A.E. Van Gogh's story, Black Destroyer. It says it's in the tradition of TV Star Trek, because Star Trek was in syndication then and was getting really popular. Actually, it was more popular in 1973 and 74 than it was during its original network run on NBC. Same thing with Planet of the Apes. When they started showing that on the CBS Friday night movie, and I think they showed it they showed Planet of the Apes, and then maybe 2 weeks later they showed Beneath the Planet of the Apes, until they showed all 5 when I was in 3rd grade, and that set off a Planet of the Apes merchandising boom for these kids like me that were in 3rd grade, and into 4th grade there was a Planet of the Apes TV series. In 5th grade there was an animated series, but for several years Planet of the Apes was huge. The movies had run their cycle in theaters. Battle for the Planet of the Apes was a week finale, and then they sold them all to TV, and then they became gigantic on TV. Here's a movie that came out about that time, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. It was a sequel to a movie that was about 15 years old. Was it? It came out, what? The 7th Voyage of Sinbad was at about 57, 58, so 13. About maybe a little more than 15 years old, but the sequel, I remember my dad took me to see that, Golden Voyage of Sinbad. But Marvel did an adaptation of that, and they did an adaptation of, oh yeah, man, I got all these great, I got my copy, this is my childhood copy of Vaulted Evil #4. Here's Tower of Shadows. There's a whole book of these Tower of Shadows books that's been released. Like a real nice coffee table book reprinting all these. I don't think I have the whole set, but I plan to get that book from Kevin at Gotham City, unless he decides he wants to keep it. He might. I got 2 copies of 2. I don't have issue 3. There's issue 4. Issue 5. I don't have 6. Here's 7. I don't have 8. Here's 9. It's like I have every other issue. There's so many of these great books that came out. Uncanny Tales. Yeah, it's like there was a comic book. There's a Seal of Approval, the Comics Code Authority, and that came in early 1955. And comic books had to submit their companies had to submit all their stories and art to the Comics Code Authority to make sure it was okay for kids to read, because there'd been all this controversy about the comics of the early 50s and late 40s having too much everything in them, from violence to crime to all kinds of stuff, inappropriate. So they said, well, and then the government got involved. Oh, there's still a lot more milk than I thought. The government got involved and said, you better do something about it. So they did the comic industry got together and formed a self-regulatory board. And one of the things they said is you couldn't have horror or terror in your title, which was aimed at EC Comics. You couldn't have vampires, werewolves, the living dead. You couldn't have a bunch of things. The bad guys always have to be punished at the end. They can't get away. And so you couldn't depict drug use and stuff like that. So Stan Lee was doing a Spider-Man comic where there was a kid that jumped off a building, as I recall, on LSD, and they said, you cannot put that in a comic. And he said, hey, this is an anti-drug message. I don't care what you say, I'm going to put this comic book out anyway. And it's like, well, you can't do that. And he said,